In a previous video, I discussed a research article that resurfaces from time to time about the value and the benefits of being able to get up off of the floor without using your hands. The research concluded that being able to do that was linked to a lower biological age or a higher life expectancy. Now, is that true? Is it not true? It was only one study. It's hard to know. But what I said was there is value to being stronger in your legs, to getting up off of the floor with more grace. And so in that video, I discussed a lot of ideas on how you could get up off of the floor without using your hands. I got a lot of questions and a lot of comments about what if I have knee arthritis? My knees just don't bend very well, or I'm just not strong enough, or a lot of these exercises will bother my knee. What can I do if I have knee arthritis? So in this video, what I want to do is talk about some options to strengthen your legs that will allow you to maybe get up off of the floor more gracefully, or just get up and move around more gracefully. And ideally, these exercises are meant to be ways that you can strengthen without bothering your knees, to keep the forces lower on your knees. A couple of things that I want to really tell you about before you do these exercises is, one, if you have knee pain from this knee arthritis, consider some forms of therapy. Things like acupuncture or electroacupuncture, myofascial release, and especially consider seeing a physical therapist if you have not done so yet, because they can give you very specific exercises for you. And for example, at the easier end of the spectrum, there are things like glute bridges. These glute bridges, because you're down on the floor, you don't have as much body weight going through the knees, but you can do these glute bridges and you're going to strengthen your butt muscles, your hip muscles, and your thigh muscles, and usually very minimal force on the knees. So those are that's an example of maybe some exercises you could do with physical therapy. Now in this video though, what I want to do are talk about some other do-it-yourself options. So the first exercise I want to talk about is using something called monkey feet. The monkey feet, it allows you to put a weight underneath there. You could sit on a higher elevated chair or a box or a bench, and you can come straight out. What this is going to do is really help you strengthen these front thigh muscles, your quads. So you strengthen those quad muscles, but again, relatively very little force going through your knee. So a lot of people with knee arthritis, what I found in our therapy sessions, in our classes, people with knee arthritis tolerate this extremely well. They get really strong through their legs without bothering their knees, and if anything, this will help with the pain, develop more resiliency within the muscles around the knee so that your knee won't hurt so much. What's great about this is you can also take it and go the other way here. So we're going to work the backside and those hamstring muscles to get right back here. You would just want to make sure you have something to hold on to. In this case, I've got this here. And work with what they call the hamstring curls. And now this next exercise is called a deadlift. And the deadlift sounds intimidating, but why the deadlift can be so valuable to build leg strength and keep pressure off the knees is because it does a movement called a hinge. So versus a squat. So a squat is where your butt comes down, but your chest somewhat stays up. And for a lot of people, that bothers my knees. My knees hurt, especially if you have knee arthritis. But for people with knee arthritis, usually, if they sit their hips back, they're using a lot of muscles back here, but as the knees stay back, there's less force and stress within the knees. So people with knee arthritis are they tolerate this better. And then what you do is you have yourself a weight. You get your hips way far back, so just think, don't let those knees come forward, really keep those knees back. Your body is going to come forward versus the squat, I said the chest up. On this one, your chest can come forward a little bit, and then we're just going to go and let that weight drop down and stand up, back and forth. So this is your deadlift. Notice that I'm keeping my spine straight. Here's what it would look like in the wrong way to do it. Notice how now I'm bending through my spine. You would not want to do that because it's just bad form. You're not using your hips and your legs as much, but also it could be bad for your back. So you would want to keep your spine straight, hips back. Almost feel heavier on your heels with this exercise. Now, if you are going to do squats, and I do think squats could be okay for you, but when you have knee arthritis, again, you want to keep those knees back. You almost want your weight to shift back. As your weight shifts back, you're going to have less force on the knees. That's hard to do without either holding on to something or leaning against something. So I'm going to show you two options, one where you're holding on to something and one where you're leaning against something. So if you have, these are called TRX straps or a suspension trainer, and you can buy these for at home to go over a door, but you've got handles to hold on to. So I've got this here. What I get to do now with these and why these are so valuable to do your squats is I get to kind of almost lean back in a way. So now my body weight goes back, and as I lean back, now I can do my squat. Notice my chest is up this time and my hips are dropping low, but notice how my knees don't go so far forward. So I can really work on getting everything shifted back, and I get to use a little bit of my upper body strength, as much or as little as you need. So if you wanted to make this more challenging, like, hey, this doesn't bother my knees at all, this is great, maybe you just hold with 2 or 3 fingers, don't fall backwards, but maybe you hold with a looser grip and use a little bit more leg strength. If that's too challenging for you, you can't get back up, well then this is here to use as much upper body strength as you need to do this exercise, to do your squats. And then the alternative way to do squats, you got yourself a ball here, get it against the wall. You want to put that ball kind of in the small of your back, almost towards your butt. I'm leaning back now. So as I'm leaning back, but I've got something to kind of hold me up. Well, now I can do my squat, but again, you'll notice my knees don't come forward because I'm leaning back. I'm keeping my weight shifted back, leaning against this ball. Another option for people with knee arthritis to do a squat, but keep some of that force and that pressure off of their knees. So there are a few options for alternative knee exercises if you have knee arthritis. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, either give us the thumbs up, even better, subscribe to our channel, and then if you have questions, as always, leave your questions or your comments below.